This is a fun episode.
Okay, listeners, I thought I had 2 hours before my father came to visit, and he is currently 10 minutes down the road. So you're going to have a very special edition of this where you are going to experience Cordell, probably the most censored he's ever been on the show.
If I may, probably also Cordell, the most anxious he's ever been on the show.
That's true. Normally we talk about, like, even Big Boy Hooters, my father would not approve of hearing me talk about in the next room.
Daddy House. That's what this one's called. Cordell's Dad House.
Dad House.
Don't wake Daddy.
Don't wake Daddy. Yeah, because
you will hear me be the least sexual, the least out of pocket. Like, I don't know how much I'm gonna speak at all.
yeah, probably the most quiet you've ever heard Cordell.
Right. Maybe I'll whisper. Who's to say?
ASMR Cordell.
We may get some Cordell Dad ASMR.
Hey guys, so my father is in the next room, and this is Dad House.
It's a psychobilly freakout!
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to House. Dad House, actually.
Dad House today. And it's also March Movie Madness. It is not quite the last week of March Movie Madness. We have one more to go after this. But it is March Movie Madness. And this week, we watched a good movie, actually.
An actually really good movie.
I mean, looking ahead a little bit, I gave it a 4 stars on Letterboxd. I really enjoyed it.
The first time I watched it, I gave it a 4.5 on Letterboxd. So yeah, I also very much enjoy it. It's a very good movie. Of course, talking about Goodfellas.
Goodfellas.
Martin Scorsese March Movie Madness. And
yes.
we got to the first of two. Apparently, we did decide 2 bad movies, 2 good movies.
Apparently that's the protocol. Apparently that's the unspoken protocol for March Movie Madness. Because we did do that last year a little bit, I think.
With Rodriguez March Movie Madness.
Yeah, because we pretty much watched 2 good, 2 bad.
Did we watch all of the Spy Kids for that? I forget.
I think we watched all the Spy Kids in 1 week. I think that's how we did that. Because we did The Faculty.
The Faculty from Dusk Till Dawn.
All 3 Spy Kids movies.
What was our last one?
Shark Boy and Lava Girl. That was the last one.
Yeah.
Which
ones are bad, Caleb?
I'm gonna be real. I still don't like The Faculty. I still think The Faculty is a pretty bad movie. I know I said that last year, and I won't rehash it, but like, I still think it's kind of a bad movie. Spy Kids 1 is honestly kind of a bad movie, and Shark Boy and Lava Girl, honestly, actually, Spy Kids 3 is a worse movie than Spy Kids 1. So I'm going to say Spy Kids 1 and 3. Shark Boy and Lava Girl kind of slapped. Spy Kids 2 from Dusk Till Dawn. That was the split.
Yeah. But Goodfellas.
Goodfellas is really, really good. I thought I had seen it, and then I started watching it and realized I was thinking of a completely different movie. Don't know what I was thinking of, but this one slaps.
For real, Martin, I know you don't really need to hear this from us at this point in your career, but you made a banger.
Marty, I know we're close enough that I can call you Marty. I just want to say, A, thank you for listening.
Huge fan. Come on the show.
And B, I think you do need to hear that this was a really good movie. Because it's nice to hear good things about yourself.
Yeah, and especially after last week, we shat on Hugo.
We kind of poo-pooed on one of your movies quite a bit.
Yeah.
We poo-pooed on it so much that we moved on to chicken strips instead of discussing your bad movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So like,
well,
yeah, you go.
Okay. I was going to say, even though Cordell has been completely silenced, we put a muzzle on him this episode. I did make a game. I did make a little quiz, rather.
I did too.
We made games from a little bit behind the sauce. The bit was we made Cordell not watch this movie, and we're going to force him through some quizzes. But now with the muzzle, he can still like guess, but like we won't hear it.
Yeah, and that's okay.
That's totally fine.
You want to go? You want to do your quiz first, or do my quiz first?
I'm gonna flip this Dutch or German. Yeah, German coin that somebody tipped at work yesterday.
Ooh.
The 10 is heads, and that'll be you, and I'll be tails.
Okay.
It's the 10. It's you. You go first.
All right. So what I've done, if you've not seen Goodfellas, watch it. It's a good movie.
Great.
But there are several sequences, at least 2 that I can remember off the top of my head in this movie, where it's just our main guy naming names and just saying all the names of all the guys. And some of them are named some batshit things that are just like, okay, we're getting into some weird nicknames territory.
Yeah.
So Sammy, I have a list of names in front of me. Some of them are real that I wrote down while watching this movie, and some of them are so basically there's 3 categories, but I broke it down into either what we know is both of our segments named Goodfellas or Badfellas, which is the name for both quizzes. I guess what we're saying.
It's perfect.
And
the name of the episode.
Some of these are from the name, maybe the name of the episode. Maybe it's Goodfellas or Dadfellas. That might be what we do.
There it is.
Some of these are from other media, but not Goodfellas, and some of these I fully made up. But
we love it.
Are these in Goodfellas or not? We're gonna start just right from the top. Sonny Buns.
Sonny Buns. Yes, that's a good fella.
That is a good fella indeed. Sally Balls.
Sally Balls is also a good fella because you specifically texted me last night and was like, I love that there's a character named Sally Balls.
It's so funny. It's so good.
It's incredible.
What about Glenny Balls?
Glenny Balls, I think, is a bad fella.
That is a bad fella. He's a podcast host from another podcast. What about Frenchie?
Frenchie, that is like one of the main dudes. So yes, that is a good fella.
He is a good fella. What about Sandy?
Sandy, I think is good fella because if I'm remembering correctly, Sandra was the like drug cocaine like distributor / like cooker, and Henry, the main dude, calls her Sandy.
That is true. That is exactly what I was going for.
That was too long of a roundabout for that, but sorry.
You're good. But we've had Frenchie, we've had Sandy. What about Rizzo?
Now, Rizzo is not only a Muppet, it's also a character from Animal Crossing. I don't remember if Rizzo is also a character in Goodfellas, but I'm going to say bad fella.
It is bad fella. I thought it was very funny that you have Frenchie and Sandy, which are both also characters from Grease. So I thought I'd throw another Grease character in there to see if I could catch you. What about Grimmy McFuckberg?
Well, first of all, I have to admit I have never seen Grease.
It's a bad movie. Okay. That's what I hate that movie so much that if we ever we're going to watch Grace for the podcast, I would not watch it and then just shit on it for a whole hour and not let either of you say anything good about it. Like, I hate it that much.
Honestly, that might be worth a Patreon. We make a Patreon just so you can shit on Grease, and people have to pay to, because I would pay to listen to you shit on Grease.
I fucking hate Grease. All right,
I think that's a bad fella.
Grimmy McFuckberg is a bad fella.
Okay.
I mean,
Billy, we already knew. Yeah. Even just with the name, he's a bad fella. But he's also, in terms of this game, a bad fella.
That's true. Grimmy McFuckberg, not real. That one, I believe it or not, fully made that one up.
Which should be an NPC in a future campaign or something you do, please.
You know what? Could be a character. We could have a character named Grimmy McFuckberg, and it would kind of fit in our podcast, not gonna lie.
It really would.
What about Billy the Kid?
Now, that's a cowboy guy.
That is a cowboy guy, but is it also in Goodfellas?
So there are multiple kids in the movie, and I don't remember any of the kids being named Billy. So I'm going to say bad fella.
That is correct. That is a bad fella. What about Billy the Lid?
Now, I think this is a good fella because you saw Billy the Lid and you were like, wait, Billy the Kid. Maybe I can throw them off.
Ugh, first one wrong. Billy the Lid, not a good fella. Indeed, a bad fella. How about Billy Bats?
Billy Bats is the dude that Tommy kills that starts off a lot of the bullshit. So he's a good fella.
He is a good fella. And what about Baby Billy?
Now, I think that's a bad fella.
Okay, yeah, you got me there. That is a bad fella. And that is actually a character in Righteous Gemstones, which actually has a lot of crossover with Goodfellas. Great show. Love that show.
Pretty good show, yeah. Yeah, I need to watch all of it. I think I've only seen season 1 or whatever.
I'm in season 2 right now. It's pretty great. And what about Bitty Baby Billy?
Bitty Baby Billy?
Bitty Baby Billy.
I think that's one you made up. That's a bad fella.
That is a bad fella. We've only got a few more to go. All right, we got Roach. Okay.
Roach. Now, I think that's a good fella, but that's also Geralt's horse.
It is a bad fella, though. No! I will go ahead and tell you. But how about Spider?
Spider is somebody else that gets killed. So, yes, he's a good fella.
They kill so many people in this movie.
Really,
Dick
just
Liquor.
Now that is my stripper name. So a bad fella.
Fair. That is a bad fella. And what about Semolina Pasta Tribbiani?
Good fella.
It's bad. I just threw 3 Italian stereotypes into a name. And
I'm racist.
Stax Edwards.
Stax Edwards is another person that gets killed in the movie
by Tommy. So many people just get killed in this movie. That's all of them. That's all the ones I came up with. I was surprised by how many of these were real, honestly.
Yeah. Also, based on a book, based on a true story, this movie. So, all of these dead people are real dead people.
I also want to be so real. That was to me, was a better twist ending than Shutter Island, was them telling me this was based off of a real story at the end.
Yeah.
I was like that's better than anything Shutter Island did. Waiting till the very end to be like, by the way, this is real.
By the way, yeah, you can read this book.
Yeah.
Dude, it's insane. And Henry Hill, the main dude, actually did all of that shit. and like all of the cocaine and all of the drug muling,
all the quaaludes, all the ratting.
Quaaludes.
I know we have another quiz to get to, but as I was watching this with Olivia last night, I said that I think this is the kind of movie that I can kind of tell what kind of person you are based on how you react to this movie.
Yeah.
Because we watched it and we were both kind of like, man, this is a really good movie, but it is also a really good way of showing people the reality of this lifestyle, where it is dark, it is bad, it is depressing. So much bad stuff is going to happen if you get involved in this, right?
Yes. And a lot of times it outweighs the positives of like community and like money.
Yeah. Yeah. Then there are people that will watch this movie and their thought is going to be, those guys were total badasses and I want to be like them.
That's the same category of people I feel like that saw Joker and was like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Joker, Fight Club.
Yes. Yeah.
Like all of those, it's like the same like toxic dude bro vibe, you know?
Yeah.
And
these guys are sick, they kill people. I'm amazing.
These guys are so cool. Oh my gosh, he has a wife and a girlfriend and a drug lady
that he also sleeps with. Whoa.
This guy's so cool. So yeah, that was what we talked about. Was we were like, man, it is kind of funny how there are some movies that just you can kind of tell how someone is based on how they react, you know?
Yeah. What are some other movies like that? God's Not Dead 1 and 2.
God's Not Dead 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, there's a third one. I forgot.
There's a third one, and it was filmed in Arkansas. And you know what? It was just down the road from us, from where we lived. We could have been extras in that movie very easily. Wouldn't that be funny to be like 2 extras from God's Not Dead 3 go on to start pretty profoundly dirty podcast, like not dirty, but like alt comedy kind of.
Yeah, and nothing about Jesus. I guess some about Jesus, but not really the most positive.
2 former God's Not Dead 3 extras go on to form NDA. That's the real rub of it, I guess.
But yeah, Goodfellas.
So like Goodfellas, I feel like if somebody tells me like, or even like what aspects of a movie do you like, tells me kind of more about you as a person, you know?
Yeah.
Because even like thinking about fucking like Die Hard, like depending on what you tell me you like about Die Hard, I'm a little bit able to tell about your personality, you know?
Yeah. I like that there are terrorists in it. You're like, oh.
I love yeah.
Like, oh.
For me, I love terrorists. That's
my favorite part. You're like, okay, you're a Republican.
Part of that movie. We get it. Like,
okay, or like understand.
Even or I'm trying to remember the name of it. Like, oh, what was it? The freaking Dick Cheney movie they made a few years ago.
Oh,
Vice. Is that what it's called? Vice?
Vice, yeah.
If you like Vice, if you're like, man, I just really liked how it showed how smart and cool Dick Cheney was, I'm going to be like, all right, you fucking suck.
I don't want to associate with you.
Yeah. Like,
that's a horror movie.
For real. Like, that is a suspense thriller. Like, it's just.
Yeah. He's not a good person. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Actually,
never be sorry for making fun of Dick Cheney. He deserves all of it.
But are you ready for Goodfellas or Badfellas?
I'm ready for Goodfellas or Badfellas.
Mine is a slightly different version. Mine is a classic true or false. Obviously, Goodfellas being true and Badfellas being false. I guess very similar to what yours was.
But a different version. Yeah.
Here's the first question.
Okay.
I hate my wife jokes are told while we are being shown an airport robbery.
Oh, Goodfellas. Yeah, Goodfellas.
That is a good fella.
There was,
there's a lot of those.
Good.
Yeah, it's sick, but also hilarious. They do a lot of those where like they're showing one of the robberies that they performed while there's like while in the future they are like in a club listening to music or like a comedian. I think they're always in that same club, but
it's all pretty much. There's like 2 clubs they go to total, I think.
Yeah. Okay, question number 2. Good
I'm ready.
fella or bad fella? What a nightmare. Tommy's mother, played by Martin Scorsese's actual mother, is heard criticizing the decor at Henry and Karen's wedding.
Oh, I don't remember that. I'm going to say bad fella.
You are correct. So what she's actually saying to Tommy specifically is, why don't you be like your friend Henry here? He's got a nice girl. He's settling down. He's married. Pretty soon he's going to have a family. And you're still bouncing around from girl to girl.
That's right. That's right. Oh,
I was trying to get this clip. Actually, I'm going to edit that out because I have the clip.
Why don't you be like your friend Henry? He's got a nice girl. He's settling down now. He's married. Pretty soon he's got a nice family. And you're still bouncing around from girl to girl.
I'm going to play it one more time, one part specifically, because I don't know what she says. Because it sounds like she says, pretty soon he's gonna start a family, but it's super mumbled. So it's like she's going, pretty soon I'm not a family.
Why don't you be down now? Married. Pretty soon he's got a nice family. And you're still
pretty soon I have to find a family. But yeah, that's Martin Scorsese's real mother.
that's crazy.
Yeah, and later in the movie, she has like a painting. She painted in real life that painting.
That's crazy. I didn't know any of this. That's crazy.
I learned that today.
That's awesome.
But okay, third, good fella or bad fella?
Yeah.
The first member of the Blue Woman group was in this film.
The first member of the Blue Woman group. It's sexist that I didn't know Blue Woman group existed.
What if I told you it doesn't? Does that change your answer?
I'm going to say Dadfellas then.
This is true. This is a good fella.
What?
There is not really. It's kind of a bit. This is one of those questions that's super hard. When Karen is with all the other wives, one of the wives is getting painted on with like blue makeup stuff all over her face.
That's good. That's funny. I like that.
I was like, okay.
That's good.
Number 4. These last two, I got to say, I think you're going to get them instantly, and that's okay. Henry really wants a place that is cold for his witness protection.
That's true. That cracked me up. I was laughing at that.
It's false. He goes, I want.
Oh, he doesn't want somewhere cold. That's
cold.
right. I want anywhere cold. I got bronchitis. Like I said, he's like, What did it, they called it something else, but it was like he has a condition, like a breathing condition.
I think it was basically like a bronchitis or something. Yeah, he's like, I can't.
Yeah, that's right. He wants nowhere cold. I mixed it up.
The agent is even funnier. He's like, I have no control over that, but he's like, no, if you have any control, please just not cold.
It's just not where it's cold.
Which I think ends up being true. I'm pretty sure he goes to like.
It looked like somewhere like middle of the desert, like Arizona or something like that.
Yeah, like actually warm.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the final question. Goodfella or bad fella? Tommy is a great guy that is super chill and has never killed people for no reason ever.
Bad fella.
Yeah.
Oh,
Joe Pesci does amazing as a literal psychopath.
So some of my favorite movies are Joe Pesci movies. Like one of my favorite movies, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's called My Cousin Vinny. And it is. Let me give you the rundown. It is Karate Kid, like the Karate Kid from the 80s, and his buddy are driving from New York to California for school.
Okay.
And for some reason, they decide to make this like we're going to extend this road trip out as much as we can, have fun. And they drive through Alabama and pull into this like little gas station, get what they can, and leave. They fill up on gas, buy some snacks and stuff, and they leave, only to get pulled over later and arrested for murder.
Oh.
And as it turns out, somebody in a very similar car to theirs, almost the exact same, went there immediately after them and murdered the cashier and drove away. So they see them. They are like, you're from out of town and you have this car. We're arresting you for murder. But they're kids. How are they going to afford a lawyer? That's because the Karate Kid's cousin is a lawyer played by Joe Pesci, who is My Cousin Vinny.
Oh my God.
And it is basically
a comedy?
It's like a comedy with dramatic elements to it.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Yeah. Mostly very funny, occasional like, oh, that's a serious thing.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And it's kind of just mostly a courtroom procedural set as a comedy where you have did you ever watch The Munsters growing up?
No,
the
really.
old TV show. The judge, who is like a big important part, is the dad who from The Munsters.
Okay.
Who was like a Frankenstein. So he's just this very tall Southern man that just is always like kind of upset because Joe Pesci's character doesn't own a real suit and shows up to court in like a leather jacket and is like Joe Pesci. So he's kind of rude and kind of awful. And so the judge is like, it's basically like those two clashing is the comedy of the movie.
Okay. Yeah.
And stars Marissa Tomei, and I think that's where she won her Oscar. I'm pretty sure.
Yo, she's so hot.
We love Marissa Tomei. Yeah, my cousin Vinny.
Jonathan Lynn, director.
Yes.
Fred
Gwynn.
Yeah.
That's him. And he's a stellar actor.
Pretty hot too.
Yeah. Yeah. Fred Gwynn, Ralph Macchio, Joe Pesci plays Vinny Gambini. That's his name.
Gambini. Which is crazy because the family in this movie was the Gambino, at least in real life.
Yeah.
Do you know what the book for Goodfellas is called?
I believe it's Wise Guys, right?
Wise Guys. It's Wise Guys. I love it. Life in Mafia Family.
I think I like that name Goodfellas better, but Wise Guys is an incredible name for a book. That's a good one. I would read that. I might read it, honestly.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's basically the movie.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
But yeah, I give this one 4 stars. I really like it and would recommend. I think it's the gold standard for gangster movies. Like, I really think this set up a formula that is better than, honestly, The Godfather. Because The Godfather, like, romanticizes the gangster lifestyle and, like, the mob in such a way that I really think you could walk away from that movie being like, wow, they're so cool. And this does a good job of, like, some of it is romanticized, but a good portion of it is just like, hey, this sucks. Like, this really sucks.
Yeah. The most it's romanticized is, like, maybe at the beginning when it's mostly him as a kid. Like, but even from the very, very beginning, the first scene is them, like, pulling over, opening the trunk, and then stabbing a dude multiple times. And that doesn't seem super cool to me. That sounds a little scary to me. I don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, it's like that, or I think a little bit like the prison cooking scene where they're like, he's like going over how everything works and who cooks what. I think that a little bit is kind of romanticizing, everything about it.
Yeah, I think with the reason I don't think I immediately thought of the the prison scene, you are very right, because they're like, they run the prison. But you immediately see Henry talking to Karen, and it's such a shitty, like, not good experience. That is just like, damn, I don't care if, like, if this is what it's doing to my wife, like, damn.
Yeah. It does a good job of, like, even the moments where you're exactly right. Even the moments where this movie does, like, show, like, this is the positive side. This is the fun side. It does a really good job of being like, this still sucks. This, like, even though it's fun for them, it sucks for literally everybody else.
Yeah. Man. And they hate Karen. They hate Karen.
They do. And, like, I don't,
Real life good Karen. Ending, though, she divorced that motherfucker.
Yeah.
The real life Karen divorced the real life Henry and was like, get the fuck out of my life. And that's a win. That's a win in my book.
Absolutely, it's a win. I'm now, like, I'm thinking about the older actors, because this movie also, a young Robert De Niro was incredible in this movie. He really did good. And so I'm kind of like, I'm thinking about, like, all these actors that I think of as, like, I've never thought about them as young. And
like seeing Ray Liotta.
Them young is Ray Liotta being young is wild. Honestly, like, Joe Pesci is kind of young in this movie. Like, he looks exactly the same, but he's young.
He's technically young.
And and, like, so now I'm, like, thinking of, like, there are all these actors that I just think of as old that I'm pretty sure if I saw them when they were young, I would be like, no, that doesn't compute. Like, that doesn't work.
Yeah. I don't think even the first time I watched it, I even connected that it was Ray Liotta.
He's got such a face
That's fair.
I could not see it any other way. I was like, that's just him. He's got a very particular look.
He's a weirdo.
I fully believe that. You honestly, Ray Liotta is the kind of guy you could tell me anything about him, and I would probably believe it. Like, you could be like, "Did you hear that Ray Liotta actually stole 3 cars yesterday, and I got away with it completely?" I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, he's talented like that. He could do that.
yeah, it makes sense. He's a pretty good actor. You know, I could believe him getting away with that.
Apparently, I forgot that he died.
I remember him dying and being like, "Oh, that sucks. He's dead," and then being like, I don't think I've seen him in anything. So why do I care? Which sucks. But that's also like kind of real for a second. I also think it's really weird when people get extremely depressed over celebrity deaths, because I'm like, you didn't know them. Like,
yeah,
take a chill pill. Like,
the one I got the saddest about, which I'm doing air quotes because like it was just like a man, was John Hurt.
That makes sense. I think. Okay, to be fair, I think it's fine to be sad.
Yeah,
but like there are some people who are like, yeah, like there are people who like, it's like I can't recover from this, and I'm like, yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can. The most is like, man, I don't get to see a movie, and that they're sad for the family. Okay, I'm gonna go get some pizza. Like that's the most you should do. You know, it's not just like I am literally so depressed. I'm just saying the words you just said in a slightly different way.
I'm trying to think of like, for me, Chris Cornell dying was a big one, but I think that was also because it was like an unexpected death by suicide thing where I was like, okay, that sucks.
Robin Williams. For me as well.
Okay. Can I tell you why that one actually affected me to the point where I was like, this does actually ruin my whole day? It was my birthday. No. When I woke up, here's what happened. I woke up and I was like barely awake, right? And my mom knocks on the door to my room and says, "Good morning. Robin Williams died last night." Like, no happy birthday first. It was just, "Good morning. Robin Williams died last night."
What?
And I was like, I need like a couple minutes just to like process that. And then she's like, "Oh, happy birthday, by the way." And I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine too.
Why is that second, Mom? But okay.
okay, whatever. Yeah, Robin Williams dying, that one did suck.
Yeah.
Because I was like, dang, I kind of was looking forward to going to Casa Brava tonight, but that kind of put a downer on things.
Yeah, I guess now we gotta go to New China.
Yeah, I guess maybe New China buffet. How are we feeling about little Fuji Steakhouse situation? Maybe
I can cry while the guy's flipping the flipping the
maybe doing a little volcano onion and crying about how Genie will never be reprised as Robin Williams
as a white man.
Oh yeah. Can I tell you something that I found very weird about Goodfellas?
Of course.
Can I get that? Henry Hill, who is the real guy that did all this crazy stuff, helped do like press for the movie.
Yeah.
He was in witness protection.
Yeah, but apparently like people talk like, I think maybe Ray talked to him about like to get wasn't that one of the things? He was like,
yeah.
As well, on top of the press, was like, "Hey, how should I play this? How should I play you?"
Yeah, like it surprises me when it's like this whole movie is about how this guy did horrible things and then turned everyone in and made his life bad enough that he had to go into witness protection, which is like a very intense thing to have to go through. Just for him to come out years later and be like, by the way, me, your neighbor for the past several years, let's I don't know what his name in witness protection was, but like Jacob Smith, actually Henry Hill, and I've done a shit ton of cocaine in my life. And I've killed
so much drugs.
Sold so many drugs, killed so many people, was there for even more deaths, buried a body, then had to dig up that body. Like, done all this stuff, and then he's like, I'm fine about it. I'm good. I feel good. Yeah.
I'm vibing.
I'm hanging out with Ray Liotta.
Yeah. And going on press tour. Maybe not press tour.
Doing a small press tour. Yeah.
God.
I'm going to do an interview with the Seattle Times. Like, that kind of stuff. Where I'm like, why? What? Hey, there are probably still some people that very much want to kill you. Like, maybe we can chill a little bit.
Maybe you can, like, take a breath and, like,
take a breather. Take a little breather.
Great movie, though.
Great movie. You know what? You know who's another underrated actor that I think we should all remember, even though one of his more famous movies is one of my least favorite movies of all time?
Who?
Martin Landau.
Martin Landau.
Who's spelled Landau? He was like a mainstay of spy shows back in the day. Like, he was in the original Mission Impossible show.
Okay.
Like, and he was in Space 1999, which was like a sci-fi show back in the day, over in England. He was in one of my favorite movies, Ed Wood, where he played Bela Lugosi and won an Oscar for it. And he was also in one of my least favorite movies of all time, North by Northwest, which is an Alfred Hitchcock movie that I also very much hate. I love all... Okay, I love it until the very end, and the end is so bad that it makes me hate the whole movie. It's one of those things.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
Okay.
We're bum fiddling.
I want you to imagine there's been this giant spy thriller that is like honestly edge of the seat level exciting. You've got Cary Grant, who in a basically his name is the same as another guy's name. That's like the premise. So it's like a normal-ish guy being thrown into the spy world, and being forced to do all these things, kind of getting through. Eva Marie Saint is playing the love interest, who she's like one of the classic Hollywood beauty types, you know?
Yeah.
There's even one scene where it's like the famous scene from the movie where Cary Grant is driving down the road and then a plane comes down and starts chasing him. And it's like the plane chases the car and then the car gives out. So then it's Cary Grant running on foot away from a plane that is shooting at him.
Oh my God. Okay.
The final scene of the movie is this giant epic sprawl of spies chasing each other and shooting each other on Mount Rushmore. Like literally like climbing across the face of it and doing all this batshit crazy stuff. And then instead of resolving that scene, it just smash cuts to Cary Grant and the love interest on a train.
Oh.
And they're happy, and that's the movie.
Oh.
No resolution. You don't get that.
There's never like, you were actually a spy the whole time, even though we thought you were just a normal guy.
No, not really.
Alfred, what did you do?
Yeah. Apparently he ran out of movie. He ran out of money. That's what happened. He ran out of money, so he just smash cut ended it.
Alfred, you can do better than that. Like, you can literally just do like one extra scene on the cheap, and it'd be fine. Why? You're Alfred Hitchcock. You can't get a little bit more funding? What?
But like, I still recommend watching the movie because it's one of those classics, where it's like, yeah, you probably gotta watch this if you're like a movie person, but it's just so frustrating.
Yeah, like what? Like, yeah, even on Wikipedia, it's like, as Kendall hangs on by her fingertips, Thornhill reaches down to pull her up. She is next seen as Mrs. Thornhill being pulled into an upper berth on a train, which immediately enters a tunnel. Like, what?
Yeah. Like, it's one of the most wild smash cuts.
I'll save you.
Ever. It's...
Hey, we're in a train now.
We're in a train. It's train time.
God, if only my Northwest was Goodfellas.
Yeah. This also gets into like, Goodfellas does one of my favorite things in a movie, which is where the beginning of the movie is like kind of batshit crazy and doesn't really fill you in on what's happening. And then you slowly see why that happened, and get the context later. I really love it when a movie does that. Oh, like that pays off so good.
Still, one of the coolest scenes in any movie ever is the beginning of like after they stab the dude a bunch in the trunk, and it just shows Henry and that famous quote of "as far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster." And then like, the music starts, and it's so good.
This is like a thing. I don't know if you've noticed about me because we have not gotten the chance to watch too many movies together, like sitting like next to each other. If something truly takes me by surprise, I laugh. Whether it's good, bad, or funny, I just start laughing.
Yeah.
I was laughing in the beginning because it truly just shocked me so much, and I wasn't expecting it. It did. A bad example of when that happened. Did you ever watch the it was not a good movie, but in theaters there was a movie called Unfriended?
I never saw it because at that point I was still a little baby that didn't watch horror movies, but I remember this movie.
I saw it in theaters with a bunch of friends. And I even told them, I was like, I don't really like horror movies. And they were like, but you'll be okay with this. And then we went and saw it. And fun fact, Jacob Wysocki is in this movie.
Yo.
And the majority of this movie is like, the majority of this movie is like in a like Zoom call, essentially. And it's like, slowly, somehow, there's all these murders happening in a Zoom call. But there's one bit that I just remember everyone was screaming, but it surprised me so much and like shocked me that I was laughing so hard in the theater, and people literally like started looking at me and checking if I was crazy. But like, it's something, it has always happened to me ever since I was like a 2 or 3 year old, like I just, if something really surprises me, I start laughing. But it's just like Jacob Wysocki's like freaking out and is like, I don't know what's going on. And then it like cuts and like glitches out. And then it's him and his hand is in a blender and like being chopped off. And like people are like screaming and freaking out. And I just am like, and like just dying laughing in the back. And people are like, are you okay? And I'm like, I don't, I'm sorry.
I mean, that just sounds ridiculous. That just sounds ridiculous. I would laugh just because of how ridiculous it is.
It is, honestly, that would be one that I would want to watch with you and Cordell sometime. Like,
I'm very down.
It's such a bad movie.
Also, like, laughing while shocked, just to say it, is like scientifically that makes a lot of sense. So, like, I don't know. Like, most humor, most comedy is being shocked or being surprised by the outcome. So it makes so much sense to me that if you are shocked, you also laugh. Like, it's the same thing.
Yeah, like it is. Yeah, for real. It is like, it's the same principle as like a horror in a different tone as a comedy. Like, it's the same idea of like your mind does not know how to interpret stuff sometimes. It just does what it makes sense to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, for me, if I'm really surprised or shocked by something, I start laughing a lot, which does make seeing horror movies in theaters very awkward at times, because people are a little bit weirded out when you're the guy laughing at a horror movie.
I've laughed at too many horror movies, though, in theaters as well. But yeah.
But yeah.
But freaking yeah. Why isn't Jacob Wysocki in Goodfellas?
Why isn't he in everything? That's the real question. He
should be three-time Terry.
Three-time Terry.
That's a good, okay. To wrap this up, what would your gangster name be?
Oh, man.
I don't think any of us are like at all Italian, so I don't think any of us could be made. None of us can be made. I especially can't be made.
I can't be made. Yeah.
But yeah.
I feel like this is hard. Maybe something like, this is so hard because it's like all of them, it's like something notable about them, which makes me worried for Sally Balls, because like, what's wrong with that guy's balls?
Yeah.
But like Stacks makes sense because it used to be for records, you would stack them up on each other. That's why it's like listening to a bunch of vinyls sometimes it's called hitting the stacks, like when you're searching for a vinyl, and that's why it's usually stacked up like that. So he was like a musician. Yeah,
it was like Timmy Two Times or Tommy Two Times. That just says Timmy twice.
Yeah. So like, what's a thing about me that is notable? Tall. People realize I'm very tall. So maybe I'm like big. I'm probably big burly. Let's be real.
I thought you were stopping at big. What if I'm just big?
What if I'm just big?
That big movie guy. With Tom Hanks.
I'm Tom Hanks. That's it. That's my gangster name. Is Tom Hanks.
That would actually be the line, because they would call you big. They would call you Big Burly, and then they would just become big, and then they're like, you know that movie with Tom Hanks? Let's just call him Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Hey Tom.
And Hanks. See, this is like something I laugh about that we do frequently, is that within like kind of our friend group, we do, instead of doing the normal thing of making people's names shorter for a nickname, we make them longer, and it's more fun that way.
Yeah. Triple time Caleb Flipperooski.
That's it. That's me, Triple Time Caleb Flipperooski. Hitting the sound waves.
I think they'd call me Slippery Sammy.
I like Slippery Sammy.
Because I'm always moist. Wait.
That's that one.
Because I'm always making the meat sauce, and I spilled it one time, and I slipped all over the place, so they're making fun of me, calling me Slippery Sammy. I don't know. I'm just...
There we go. And we'll figure out Cordell's. Cordell's been...
He's been good. He hasn't really been making that much noise, even with the muzzle on, so that he's been... Maybe we give him a treat or something.
Yeah. Maybe we give Cordell a little treat this week.
Treat.
And yeah.
Daddy,
you know what?
Dad Cordell. Well, were we making a name for him?
Oh, Cordell. What's some things we know about Cordell? Big. He's very tall too.
He's very tall as well. He's got
got
hair.
a new car.
Got a new car.
Cordy, new car. New car, Cordy. But he's not always going to have a new car. And that's the thing. He's got to be something always. I mean, he's almost a counselor. So maybe they just call him like Counselor Cordy.
Counselor Cordy.
Counselor Cordy, that's right. And then eventually they call him Goodwill Hunting. And then that gets shortened to Will. That's his nickname, Will.
Yep.
There we go.
There we go. There we go.
Or does it go from Goodwill Hunting to Ben Affleck to Affleck?
Yeah. No. Well, no, it would be Williams. Because it started as counselor.
Willie.
Goodwill
there
Hunting.
It is. It's Willie. Robin Williams, Willie. There we go. Free Willie. That's Cordell's gangster nickname.
Free Willie. There we go. I think mine spirals to Star Fox.
I was about to say, let's go with, because Slippery Sammy, I think, fits. I think that's a funny, like, and then Slippy the Toad, Star Fox. Yeah. What if eventually he's 64?
Yes.
So we have 64. Tom Hanks.
64 and Will.
Tom Hanks, 64 and Will.
God.
Oh, you know what? Another, I didn't mention it earlier, but Goodfellas has incredible needle drops. Some of the best songs. Only the outro of Layla, which I find interesting. Most people like the intro better. But you know what? It's great. It's also got some great Rolling Stones with "Give Me Shelter." And this song has this podcast has a needle drop every week. Specifically 2 that are the same song. It's our opening and closing theme song, "Psychobilly Freak Out" by the Reverend Horton Heat, off the album "Smoke 'Em If You Got 'Em." Yeah,
if you're Henry Hill, you're gonna smoke him because you got him. If you liked this episode, you could rate us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and wherever the frick frack you're listening to this. We also have a soon-to-be Blue Sky and TikTok at Junk House Pod. We also have YouTube if you want to check us out. Give us a thumbs up. I don't think we have any emails this week, do we?
No, but what's your gangster name? What's your Junk House style gangster nickname?
And give us the path.
And give us the path. Give
Show
us how
your
you got there. Yeah. And if you want us to give you one, email us with your name and just some fun facts about yourself, and we will come up with a nickname for you. That'll actually be very fun to do.
That would be very fun.
Please actually do that. And if you want to do that, it's junkhousemaiilbox@gmail.com. And you know what? Just like we say every single week.
I guess we can take the muzzle off of Cordell now.
Yeah, Cordell, you can talk now if you want to.
Oh, giving us the cold shoulder. Okay.
It's a psychobilly freak out.